Breaking news, we told you that President Trump says he won't take military action off the table against Iran after it carried out a missile test. And we have just learned that the administration is expected to impose additional sanctions on Iranian entities under an existing executive order that predates Trump. And we're told that these sanctions will not impact the nuclear deal. More on this coming up, of course. And President Trump keeping his apprentice boardroom skills pretty sharp while speaking at the National Prayer Breakfast. He took a swipe at his successor, the Terminator actor Arnold Schwarzenegger.
They hired a big movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to take my place. And we know how that turned out. The ratings went right down the tubes. It's been a total disaster. And Mark will never, ever bet against Trump again. And I want to just pray for Arnold, if we can, for those ratings, okay?
The former California governor quickly clapped back on Twitter.
Hey, Donald, I have a great idea. Why don't we switch jobs? You take over TV because you're such an expert in ratings, and I take over your job. And then people can finally sleep comfortably again.
Well, back and forth there. Joining me now to discuss all this, Mark Lamont Hill, CNN political commentator and Morehouse College professor, and Ben Ferguson, CNN political commentator. All right, gentlemen, is the prayer breakfast the right place to comment on TV ratings? Mark, to you first.
No, it's not. Historically, this has been a kind of ecumenical, open, apolitical, as much as anything can be, event. It's not the right time to stroke your own ego or to take shots at Donald Trump. I mean, at Arnold Schwarzenegger. And on top of that, Mr. Trump, you might want to consider that part of why his ratings went down is because people don't want to be near The Apprentice because it's your brand and people don't like you that much anymore. So in addition to it being inappropriate, it's also probably not wholly accurate.
Well, there's no actual research to back that up. I want to point out, Mark.
Yeah.
That is your opinion.
That's stretching.
I said perhaps.
Stretching
perhaps.
Stretching a whole lot.
I know. I deal in facts. I want to go to you, Ben. Your reaction to what Mark just said.
Yeah. Well, one, I mean, to say that somehow the reason why The Prince is not doing well is because the guy that people may not like is not on the show anymore, but associated, but not really, is pretty ridiculous. I think that what people don't still understand about Donald Trump is this. Donald Trump is going to talk about a lot of different things at a lot of different places, and he's not going to be your traditional president. Traditionally, yes, these are things that you probably wouldn't hear at a prayer breakfast, but traditionally, most people didn't think Donald Trump was going to be the president. So the only people I think are shocked by this are people that actually don't understand Donald Trump and why he became the president and why so many people support him. He was non-traditional. He is going to continue to be non-traditional. He is not going to do everything exactly how Obama or George Bush or Bill Clinton did things in the past. He's going to do it his own way. This is a perfect example of that. People in the audience seemed to like what he had to say. They were laughing about it, so they obviously thought it was entertaining and pretty funny.
Really quickly, Mark.
But I think Ben's missing the point here. I think Ben's missing the point here. The question isn't that people are shocked by it. I'm not sitting here saying I can't believe Donald Trump did something inappropriate. No, I'm saying it's inappropriate. And to point out that he consistently does things that are non-traditional and sometimes inappropriate doesn't change the fact that it's inappropriate. I'm saying this is wrong to do, not that it's surprising.
All right, I want to turn to something else that I know that both of you.
You don't think we're dealing with morals at a prayer breakfast? It's a prayer breakfast. I think we can talk about morals.
I don't think there's anything, listen to what I said, immoral about him having a funny one-liner to entertain the people in the crowd. Yeah, it's not immoral what he said. It wasn't like he said something that was inappropriate at a prayer breakfast. This was him being humorous and funny. And again, if you listen to the crowd, they thought it was funny and they laughed at it.
Really quick, I
disagree.
Okay, so we know you disagree on that. I want to know if you disagree on how this was handled on the UC Berkeley campus when these peaceful student protests turned violent, when this group of so-called anarchists took over, as you see in this video, and disrupted this scheduled speech by Breitbart news editor. 6 people were apparently hurt, and the conservative alt-right commentator had to be escorted off of campus before he could even speak. This is on a campus that was sort of the birth of free speech. Critics are saying protesters silence that free speech. Others say hate speech is not free speech. Your reaction, Ben, you first.
You had banners that said people need to die at this event. People need to die. This is the left showing yet again that when they don't get their way, they will become extremely angry. They will riot. They will loot a Starbucks, which I don't understand the logic behind that. It's a pretty liberal company. They're on your team. Why you would hurt a Starbucks is beyond me. We saw that happen also when Donald Trump was being inaugurated. Another Starbucks was attacked. I'm sitting there going, of all the places to attack, why would you attack a liberal company? That just shows you how crazy these protesters are. It's also an issue of free speech. Both sides have the right and should have the right to speak. We have seen many liberals have no problem without protesters, without fear of death or people hurting you or attacking you or pepper spraying you, as many of these protesters did towards conservatives last night. And for it to happen at the place that's supposed to be the center point of free speech on college campuses, I think it's embarrassing. And honestly, liberals need to grow up on college campuses because people are actually getting hurt now.
Mark, go ahead.
So a few things. One, I think we have to separate the institution from the people out there. The University of California, Berkeley didn't do anything wrong here. They not only support free speech, but they supported the college Republicans who brought them in to do what? To fund it, to offer security. They've spoken out against the violent protests. This is not an issue of free speech at the institutional level. I think it's also a bit inaccurate to say that this is a problem purely of the left. I think we have intolerance on the left and on the right. I mean, I travel the college speaking circuit all the time. In school, and the right boycotts, the right writes letters, the right tells people not to let me in.
Do they pepper spray people that want to come to your event? Do they set things on fire? Do they destroy property? Do they flip over barricades? Tell me the last time a bunch of conservatives went to a college campus and acted this way, because I would love to see the proof behind that.
Mark?
Well, you know, they don't always go to college campuses. Sometimes they blow up abortion clinics. Sometimes they burn down mosques. Sometimes they shoot up churches.
That's not what we're talking about. Now you're stretching.
No, I'm not stretching. I'm just trying to finish my point. What I'm saying is that both sides have extremists and respond to disagreement violently. No, it's not necessarily on a college campus, although sometimes it is. And there have been right-wing riots on college campuses as well. But the point is that both sides do. I'm saying I'm not defending. I'm not. Let me finish. But I'm not defending the behavior. I'm saying let's not pretend that only the left has violent forms of disagreement. That's simply inaccurate here. And I think what's even more troublesome.
Mark, where?
And I think
tell
what's
me
even
one
more.
example of where conservatives on a campus have done this.
And I think what's even more, I think what's even, well, Ben, I'm not trying to avoid your questions, just you keep interrupting, so I'm just going to get to my other point. So the other thing here I think that I find troublesome is that Donald Trump is blaming this on the university and threatening to cut federal funds as if the institution is behind this. In fact, the institution has spoken out against it.
All right. Mark Lamont Hill, Ben Ferguson, great as always to have you both on. Thank you, gentlemen.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Up next, the top